Hello and welcome to the Mr. Life Writing Show. I'm your host, Chris Jones. Brandon Head joins me for this spotlight in observance of National Black Business Month. Hey, Brandon, how's it going, bro?
It's going amazing right now. How about yourself?
I will not complain. Closer to hump day. Not that I'm trying to push my week forward, but a lot has been going on this week. A lot of things left to do this evening, but that's life, right?
Yeah, that is life. I mean, but things are always moving, but at the same time, it's kind of like this fan I'm over here trying to do. It's like air circulating. You got to keep it moving because if not, it's gonna get stale. It's not gonna be fresh.
I like that. I'm gonna use that one too. Hey, brother, I'm gonna
Please do.
maximize your time. I know you're just as busy as the next guy, but
I'm
the
not
first,
busy. I'm not too busy for you, Chris. I'm not too busy for you.
I know you don't have to dress it up. It's all good. It's all good. Hey, look, everyone knows Brandon Head, okay, but at the same time, not everyone knows Brandon Head. So, the man, the myth, the legend.
Oh
Who is
man.
Brandon Head?
Brandon Head is a young man that is just trying to get by. He's been doing direction of photography and videography for the last 2 decades. He's been doing creative direction for the last decade, and he's just trying to have some messages that are important for people to hear. And he just really hopes that people are able to just receive him however he comes.
I like it. I like it. I take the Brandon Head that I've gotten to know is very into Brandon. You're just okay. I don't like using the word perfectionist when it comes to creatives and folks in the visual space or what have you. But I mean, if you're serious about your craft, I mean, you're gonna have some levels of perfection and such about yourself. But I say that because I've always liked your approach, your seriousness, man. When you get behind that camera, Brandon, you transform, man. As as you should, right? But it's just again, creatives, man. I've always admired any creative in their space and place, especially like I said, when they get into what they do, right? Because that's what they love, that's what inspires them, that's what motivates them, etc. So I'm gonna pose a couple of questions around that at some
Okay.
point, motivationally, inspirationally. You know what?
Sure.
I want to go ahead and jump into that.
Sure.
So who has been, who is still your motivation, inspiration? What does that look like?
So I think that it's what's a couple of ways, and I'll try to make it as compartmentalized as possible. I think it boils down to if I'm starting from the present, it's with people in my life, right? So there's the names that I could say. Um, I don't know that. I mean, I could say names. Should I say names?
Sure, sure.
Okay, yeah.
It's
Okay,
your
so
show.
okay, yeah. So I feel like there are names like large status, like Pharrell Williams. Um, it could be just I don't know, your Tyler the Creators. It could be I don't know. I don't know. It could be your Devin Allens, like people that I personally know.
Yeah.
You know, it could be your Brian Robinsons with Black Genius Art Show. It could be your Donovan Buntings of Canvas Cartel. It could be a lot of people, and that's why I don't like saying names, right?
No, I got you. I understand.
But at the same time, in the present, it's people that I'm like watching. It's people that I'm actually experiencing in the here and now. Then I
Right.
think the second part of the question is it's like, well, what inspires me? Really, things that have already happened because I'm not so much interested in what is happening now. I'm more interested in learning the history of why things are. So for me,
Uh,
that could be as like early as, and I say early as like as soon as the present, as like Basquiat,
right.
uh, to as like late as back in history. It, I don't know. You could say Francis Bacon in the
Hmm.
1900s. You could say
Oh yeah.
Michelangelo. You mentioned something about perfection. and I get that a lot. And I think it's the idea of perfection is interesting because it's like the art of perfection is eternal patience. That's what Michelangelo said before he carved David. And I
Yeah.
always try to think about the present and then the past. And then I try to say, if I had to wait forever and I know I don't have that,
Uh-huh.
whatever I create, would it stand the test of whatever we call time? And I know that some people can't be perfect. So I'm never trying to be perfectionist, right?
Right.
But at
Right.
the same time, I think that what you said about the transforming, yeah, it's about being in the moment, but recognizing the past of the art form that you're trying to take, and then realizing that the future is going to be now. And if I'm not a part of that future, you know, I hope that I was really close to it or I sparked the mind that did. So
Yeah.
those are kind of the ways that I'm inspired, I think, to answer the question in a very roundabout way.
No, no, I thought that was spot on, and the way you expanded on it too. I share a lot of those sentiments, and so I wanted to expand on that a little, but not yet. Where I want to go next is your venture itself, right? The Carwell group, and what does it mean? How did it originate? Like, where did the idea come from? But can you tell us more about the Carwell group and that venture in particular?
Absolutely, yeah. So the Carwell Group is just basically a group that I came up with, named after my grandfather. So my name is Brandon Carwell Head, and my middle name is from my grandfather. That's
Uh-huh.
my namesake. And I was born on the same day as him, 9/11. So we're both Virgos for
Oh,
everybody
really?
that's
Oh, cool. Okay.
so so from that perspective, I wanted to do something because every time I was growing up and I would like go see my grandparents for the summer, like he was a history teacher, and he was also a deacon at a church. So a lot of the things that ground me as a person and as a man, uh, he was able to kind of inscribe upon me. And knowledge was one of the biggest foundations that he always did. So every time I had a question, he would always make me write like a paper, like a little like 2 paragraph, but like on like whatever ruling size paper. But he made me do it just to exercise that when you ask a question, there's powers in words, and I've always been
Right.
fascinated by words. So that's kind of where my journey, I think, as an artist had come, because I think over time, um, that's kind of what the Carlo Group or the collective, one could say, is. It's basically a conglomerate of smaller groups that I've found over the last 20 years that I feel confident in. That when we go in to work, we do this as a group. I recognize that I can be the star of the show, as people say, like you said earlier on, it's your show. Fine. That might very well be the truth. I know as a leader that no man rules alone, no man rules on an island. So like the
Absolutely.
reality is that it's the group. And I'll always stand in the spotlight because I think that, when the light shines brightest, there's a shadow cast, you know, and I'm not interested in people standing behind me. I'm not interested in people standing in the shadow. If they stand next to me or in front of me, that even works for me. But
Right.
I think a lot of people just fall where they feel, and if it's behind me, that's okay. But
Yeah.
I'm always saying in a group, and I like to lead from the front, but I know how to be in the back. So that's what the
Yeah.
group does, and that's what the Carwell Group is kind of all about in a nutshell.
Cool. 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 So specifically, like core competencies, your go-to expertise,
Yeah,
what most people call upon you for. What
yeah.
are one or two that comes to mind?
So it would be probably video direction more than anything. I think most people are used to having a videographer, right? But I think video direction, and I say director of photography, that just basically means the director of everything that's capturing a picture or a camera, right?
Got it.
So this is more than just taking a video for your Instagram. Because if it's that, I have somebody that could do that, for a certain rate. And it's oftentimes the rate that I hear.
Hmm.
When you say a director of photography, the implication is that, hey, we have a brand and we don't want my cousin to shoot it. We want somebody to flush this idea out. So from soup to nuts, and that basically means from pre-production, which is just from a conversation to the ideation to
Uh-huh.
the demonstration, and then it's about production. So then we get the cameras out. now we're going, now we're showing, now we're rolling, now we're going. And then we do the post-production, and that's where we're editing it. Now we're editing it, now we're steadying it, now we're readying it. And then the last part is scoring it. And that is a whole part because that's the last dynamic of making somebody feel something when you see the visual. And that's when we know, and that's how you know it's the show. So that's how it works in totality. So somebody calling me needs me for all of that. But, you know, I'm a video guy. I'm a photo guy. I'm a cameraman. You get those things. You kind of roll through it. Water off a duck's ass. It's money. But like at the end of the day, that's kind of the core competency of director of photography. And then the other side of that would be creative direction, which is like, hey, I have a brand. We kind of know what we're doing. We know strategically what we're doing. We know our audience. We have a campaign we'd like to do. How do we get that across to the people in context? And you might call me as a brand strategist or a creative director. Creative director just meaning that I'm the person that comes in and everybody that creates digital assets or photo assets or video assets, I'm directing them, right? Creatively, I'm directing them. That's all that means.
Right.
But a tacit, if you got somebody that needs a logo, somebody with a video, somebody with a reel, somebody with this, somebody with that, that's kind of what we do. But it's hard when it's just one person. So that's why the group is why it's important, because it's like, well, I'm talking to you. I might not be the person on staff that day.
Right. Brandon, the way you laid that out, it described the whole, because it's a process, right? It's a conglomerate. It's teaming, it's partnering, all those different assets and facets of making the production work, right? I never thought to break it down and out like that. You'd mentioned it before, but I never asked you like simply, Brandon, like, so what does all of that look like and when and where? But to your points, is the overarching production of everything. You manage all of the bits and pieces, you direct all of the bits and pieces, making sure everything is succinct. And I like this the second part of what you said, the latter part of what you said about the messaging from a brand strategy perspective. So there's I didn't think that there's an element of marketing and branding like built into it.
I mean, I'm not trying to be hilarious or anything like that, but like quite literally, if I look at this camera screen right now, I see you with your hat on, and then like above me, I literally have like a bunch of hats above me. So it's kind of just like one of those things that you've never asked, and most people don't. But like, I quite literally have a bunch of hats. So, so if somebody gives me one, they might mess around and might be something.
I like it. I get it. So here's the thing, Brandon. So especially when I talk to creatives, right? You guys have a portfolio of works, some type of history of, various projects or what, however you categorize it, what have you. I'm curious to know what has been your most memorable project or business dealing or what have you. What stands out?
Canvas Cartel.
Yeah. Okay.
That's what I'm wearing right now. That's the one that's probably been the most evergreen that I've had. That's the one that I probably had the most effect on. Not to say that I haven't had an effect on a lot of things, but suffice it to say, without too many dirty details, I think that's the most impactful because that's the one that I was able to come in and be a force multiplier for. And I think when you're talking to creatives, a lot of times they're dealing with the financial needs of money, so they're worried about having to make a product, make a result so that they make an end goal. I was in a circumstance where I didn't necessarily have that threatening thing looming against me. Not that I haven't through my journey several times, but it is to say that I got the opportunity to step into a place and have some people trust me that didn't really know me from Adam. And I was able to make a statement, design, do my thing and be trusted in my community just based off of the work that I kind of supported and gave to. So I
Wow.
think that's probably one of the most impactful. Following that would probably be the work I did with Roland Martin and the Black Star Network and helping that Black News Initiative. I think anything
Mhm.
Black, seeing us, that's great.
Mhm.
And then last would be probably some of the initiatives I do now with the city of Baltimore, and I'll just kind of leave it at that.
Yeah. No. Cool. Good. The Carwell Group. Brandon, where do you envision it? You can put a number on it, 5 years, 10 years, whatever. But where do you go from here?
5 years from now, we will have a studio space. We will be already international, but we will be more or less focused on the East Coast, Southeast region, and then we'll
Mhm.
be focused already in the West, in California, and maybe over in Hawaii.
Okay.
We're trying to do some international things in Dubai, Thailand, and South Korea right now. So it's just a matter of time. And I'm wanting to say that it's not about courage. Um, in another story, I'll be able to tell you about that, but it's not about courage. This is about patience. And I just believe that it's just a matter of time. So I've been here. People who didn't know me, I'm here. Hi, I'm still around. And even if I'm not here, I'm still always going to be here. So
Got it.
that's I just want always to be reiterated. Um, I'm not going anywhere.
Got it. No, that's awesome, man. And I will say one thing. I kind of tell on myself, put myself out there, Brandon. So everyone, Brandon has been trying to get me to, get from behind this thing and do some live aspects of something. That's coming. That's coming. I Brandon said I had to put the pressure on myself, right? I had to put myself out there, put a little pressure. But it's about just about transforming, right? Growing. Where do you want to go? I've gotten comfortable behind the screen and I can do it from anywhere, but several folks have asked me, but you asked me very pointedly, like, when are you gonna, pivot this thing, maybe momentarily, maybe for one shot, one segment, a few segments, or what have you. But it's coming. So I just wanted to publicly say that to everyone in your midst.
Well,
So
I appreciate that. And, again, you mentioned pressure. And I think the thing about pressure, the old adage goes that pressure can burst pipes or it can also make diamonds. And I'm just interested in
yes.
being diamonds because diamonds on my neck, diamonds on my chain, diamonds on my mind. I'm thinking pinky rings. So, like, the thing is, it's like, I'm already okay with whatever time frame. Um, I'm so focused on timing in my
Uh-huh.
life right
Right.
now
Right.
at 35, turning 36, that everything is just going to happen when it happens. And I just need to be the part. You mentioned earlier about, being a leader and, kind of trying to run a brand and being about, National Entrepreneurs Month. And
Mm-hmm.
I think the one thing that, because it sounds like we're kind of be wrapping up on our time to part with, it's just like, I'm okay with pipes bursting. It's about what you do when the pipes burst and who's getting the water out. Nobody finishes the adage.
Ooh.
And I've been on a lot of ships, not literally, but I've been on a lot of
Yep.
sinking and floatings. And all I've recognized is that I'm still the same sailor that I was 2 decades ago. And I'm the same one that's now talking to you. So
I like it.
takes me years to make an overnight celebrity. And guess what? If I had forever to be perfect, I'd wait for eternity because the art of perfection is eternal patience.
Ah.
My TED Talk.
Hey, but as I said before, I'm gonna say to you again, hey, thanks for joining me. I've been trying to get you on here for quite some time. Our schedules kind of, sunk up to make it happen, but I really appreciate it. And to the audience, thank you for tuning in, as always, to the Mr. Life Writing Show. Subscribe to the channel. Like a video that resonates with you.
Subscribe. You gotta
Yes,
subscribe.
thank you.
Listen, if you don't subscribe, you won't stay as alive. You got to get Mr. Right Light. Oh, you got to get Mr. Light writings so that you can be on the right type of timing. Hey,
Yeah,
hey, I just want to let them know, Mr. Life Writing, you are the man. So I don't want them to get confused. You're the man. That's why I have the glasses down on them and let them know.
That's
You're
right.
the man.
Let
You're the
them
big
know.
bro. You're the OG.
Let
We
them
do
know.
it. 1, 2, 3. Let's go.
Comment. You heard the man. Subscribe to the channel. Comment and share. That too.
Hey, don't be scared if you don't like your share. What's up?
Hey, guys. Hey, B, they know. They show us another way. We try to creatively and inspire people to write the lives they desire. Until the next time, guys.
One more thing.
Say it.
I just wanted to let the people know that, listen, I've known CJ, Mr. Jones, for about, I think, 2.5, 3 years.
Yeah.
He's been an inspiration in my life. He's been somebody that's really helped me through the journey of my life in certain times. And I just want to say that this type of programming is what we need. We need more brothers doing things like this in our community. And it's powerful what he's got doing right now. He's not writing this down, but that's the whole point, is about being the message is the medium. It don't have to be written. If you
there you go.
Now,
there you go.
If you're watching this right now, you could have been doing anything else, but you watching this. So I appreciate you for spending time with Tragic Johnson. You could have been anywhere in the world. You're here with Mr. Life Writings. We over here. Don't get frightening. Share, like, and share, please.
I have nothing else to say. We're out.